Kuwait is a small desert country that once lacked water and greenery, and is today counted among the richest nations in the world. What happened that Kuwait, surrounded by sand dunes, became the Pearl of Arabia in a few decades due to the power of oil? But will this prosperity last forever, or will this wealth of oil become a burden for Kuwait in the years to come? In today's story, we will find out how Kuwait changed its fortunes with oil. So let's start this amazing journey of Kuwait and know how it became such a prosperous country. Chapter 1. Historical Roots. The story of Kuwait begins in 1752 AD, when a clan called Banu Atub in the eastern part of the Arabian Peninsula laid the foundation of this small country. Later in 1899, the ruling Al Sabah family of Kuwait signed an agreement with Britain, under which Britain got control of Kuwait's foreign affairs. Kuwait became a British protectorate after World War I. Gradually, the sense of independence increased in the country, and on June 19, 1961, Kuwait gained complete independence from Britain. However, Iraq claimed Kuwait soon after independence, but the attempt failed with the intervention of the British and Arab Leagues. This independence gave Kuwait new challenges of nation building, and at the same time opened up new possibilities towards oil exploration and economic prosperity. Chapter 2. Oil discovery and effects. The first oil well was discovered in 1938 in the Bergen region of Kuwait, but commercial drilling began in 1946 after World War II. This discovery changed the fate of Kuwait. Kuwait's economy was quite limited before the war, and growth was slow, but as soon as oil exports began, both the country's income and prosperity began to grow rapidly. The revenue from oil transformed Kuwait from a small trading port to a wealthy and influential oil nation. The standard of living of ordinary citizens improved, infrastructure improved, and this economic success laid a strong foundation for welfare policies and investment plans in the future. Chapter 3. Establishing the welfare state. The immense income from oil turned Kuwait into a welfare state. The government made policies for its citizens so that every person could easily get the basic necessities of life. Education here is completely free for children between the ages of 6 and 14, and the government gives students books, uniforms, and even food. Healthcare services are also almost free, so that ordinary people do not have to bear the cost of treatment. Apart from this, the government provides facilities to the citizens, such as government jobs, financial help in building houses, and relief in taxes. These schemes made people's lives easier and spread prosperity in the country, although they further increased the economy's dependence on oil. Chapter 4. Property investment funds. In order to invest the income from oil safely and wisely, Kuwait created the world's first sovereign wealth fund, i.e., the Kuwait Investment Authority, in 1953. This step was taken so that the money coming from oil could not only be spent, but also useful for the future. Today, Kuwait Investment Authority is one of the oldest and largest investment funds in the world, with assets reaching approximately $1.029 trillion as of March 2025. In 1976, Kuwait introduced the Future Generation Fund, in which 10% of the net income from oil is deposited every year. The money of this fund is invested in companies and projects at home and abroad, so that even if oil prices fall in the future, the Kuwaiti economy remains stable. Chapter 5. Economic Statistics. Kuwait's economy is based entirely on oil, and this is also its greatest strength. According to 2024 estimates, Kuwait's GDP per capita is approximately $32,289, making it one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Oil exports are the country's economic backbone. Petroleum alone accounts for about 90% of Kuwait's total government income and about 92% of export revenue. In addition, more than half of the country's total GDP is linked to the oil and gas industry. These figures clearly show that the main source of Kuwait's prosperity is its vast oil reserves, which have established it as a high-income and stable economy. Chapter 6. The Iraq-Kuwait War. In 1990, Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, shaking the entire region. The Iraqi army occupied Kuwait, and set fire to more than 700 oil wells on the way back, leaving the sky shrouded in smoke for months. It is considered the biggest environmental and economic catastrophe in the history of the oil industry. However, by March 1991, all oil well fires were extinguished with the help of the United Nations and allies, and Kuwait began its reconstruction at an astonishing pace. Within a few months, oil production again reached pre-war levels, symbolizing Kuwait's strong will. The war inflicted deep wounds on the country, but at the same time strengthened its relations with allies like the United Nations and the United States, strengthening both Kuwait's security and international standing. Chapter 7. Oil Infrastructure. Kuwait's entire oil industry operates under the Kuwait Petroleum Corporation, which is the backbone of the country's energy system. It operates several subsidiaries. Kuwait Oil Company handles oil exploration and exploration. Kuwait National Petroleum Company handles refining and domestic distribution, while Kuwait Oil Tanker Company operates a shipping fleet for oil exports. Kuwait Petroleum Corporation produces approximately 7% of global oil reserves, maintaining Kuwait's strong position in the global energy market. The country has 3 large refineries: Mina Abdullah, Mina Al Ahmadi, and the new Al Johar refinery, which opened in 2023 and has a capacity of about 6.15 lakh barrels per day. The old Shuaiba refinery, which refined 200,000 barrels per day of oil, was shut down in 2017. At the same time, Kuwait Oil Tanker Company, which was founded in 1957, operates a large fleet of tankers carrying oil and petroleum products around the world. In this way, Kuwait Petroleum Corporation and its subsidiaries together control Kuwait's entire oil supply chain, from exploration to production, refining, and export, ensuring the country's economic stability. Chapter 8. Diversification Efforts. To reduce its excessive dependence on oil, Kuwait has launched a plan called New Kuwait Vision 2035. The objective of this scheme is to diversify the country's economy and strengthen the private sector. Under this, work is being done towards making Kuwait a regional financial and trading center. The government is increasing investment in sectors such as financial services, logistics, and manufacturing. At the same time, large infrastructure projects such as the development of the Silk City and the northern region are also part of this vision, which can make Kuwait a major trading center in the future. However, the progress of the scheme has been slow so far as government procedures are complex, rules and regulations are strict, and people are still heavily dependent on government jobs. In addition, the country's education system also needs to be adapted to the needs of the market so that the young workforce can contribute to new areas. Overall, the New Kuwait Vision 2035 is a visionary and ambitious plan. But for it to succeed, the government needs institutional reforms, policy flexibility, and modern administrative framework. Chapter 9. Foreign Policy and Relations with the US. Kuwait's foreign policy has always been based on balance and partnership, with the US and its regional allies playing a key role. Relations between Kuwait and the US have strengthened since the 1991 Gulf War, and in 2004, the US granted Kuwait the status of a major non-NATO ally. Today, about 13,500 US troops are stationed in Kuwait, based at key military bases such as Camp Arifsan and the Ali Al Salem Air Base. From here, US forces conduct strategic operations throughout the region. Kuwait also spends a portion of its government spending on hosting and protecting these foreign troops. Moreover, Kuwait has always pursued a policy of maintaining regional balance. It is an active member of the Gulf Cooperation Council, plays an important role in OPEC, and maintains strong ties with Arab countries. At the same time, it has further strengthened its diplomatic credibility by playing a mediating role in the Iran-Iraq conflict and the recent Middle East conflict. Kuwait is also recognized as a responsible and influential country, using its oil wealth and economic influence in international forums such as the United Nations. Chapter 10. Comparison to Gulf Neighbors. If Kuwait is compared to its Gulf neighbors, it is clear that every country has used its oil wealth in different ways. Qatar has vast natural gas reserves, making its per capita income one of the highest in the world. The United Arab Emirates has invested heavily in oil revenues, as well as trade, tourism, and financial services, making its economy more diverse. On the other hand, Saudi Arabia, which is the region's largest economy and has the world's largest oil reserves, is now moving rapidly towards reducing dependence on oil and promoting technological and industrial sectors under its Vision 2030 program. Amidst all this, Kuwait is recognized as a country with a very high per capita income, but a relatively small population. At the same time, countries such as Kuwait and Qatar have more attention to good governance and social services, while the UAE has developed the private sector and tourism, and Saudi Arabia has focused on large-scale industrialization. Overall, all oil-rich countries in the Gulf are rich, but their economic strategies and development models are different from each other. Chapter 11: Challenges Ahead. Today, Kuwait is facing many new challenges. The biggest problem is youth unemployment. Kuwait, like the Gulf countries, does not have enough employment opportunities for the youth. Most people are dependent on government jobs, while opportunities in the private sector are limited, due to which many young people have to look for work abroad. The second major challenge is the excessive dependence on oil. More than 90% of Kuwait's government income still comes from oil. So if oil prices fall, or the world moves rapidly toward renewable energy, the country's economy could be profoundly impacted. In addition, climate change is also a serious concern. According to scientific studies, the heat in Kuwait is accelerating and sea levels are rising, putting coastal cities at risk of flooding and erosion. At the same time, the country's per capita carbon emissions are very high, further exacerbating the environmental crisis. Problems such as water scarcity, impact on agriculture, and the increasing impact of heat on health are also coming to the fore. To address these challenges, Kuwait must now move beyond oil to diversified economic growth, promote the private sector, and focus on clean energy sources such as solar. In this way, the story of Kuwait is now moving not just in oil wealth, but in the direction of sustainable development and preparing for the future. If you enjoyed this enlightening journey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video.